Ever wondered how much safer your work at height operations could be? Imagine a world where every potential hazard is detected before it becomes a problem. Meet Tracker AI's smart PTZ camera system. This isn't just any camera, it's a game changer in work at height safety. Safety is paramount, right? It's the foundation of a productive and happy workforce. Despite stringent regulations, accidents still happen. Traditional methods often fall short in preventing these incidents. Enter Tracker AI's smart PTZ. This advanced system is designed to fill the gaps left by outdated safety measures. Tracker smart PTZ cameras deliver unmatched oversight so you can spot hazards before they become accidents. Offering 24/7 monitoring, it detects work at height safety hazards instantly, no matter the time of day or night. Think about it. Real-time monitoring, automated alerts and even fall detection. It's like having a safety manager who never blinks. Real-time alerts trigger immediate action, ensuring that potential dangers are addressed before they escalate. Automated surveillance significantly reduces human error, making your work site safer and more efficient. It even detects PPE and welding work compliance, ensuring that all workers are properly equipped. Ensure every worker goes home safe. That's the ultimate goal, isn't it? Ready to elevate safety? Stay safe, stay smart. With Tracker AI, you're not just upgrading your equipment, you're upgrading your entire safety culture. The Tracker Smart PTZ camera features advanced AI algorithms that are constantly learning and adapting to new safety challenges. With 360-degree rotation and high-definition video, it covers every angle, leaving no blind spots. You can decide which areas to cover, what to detect in each area through a simple online procedure without ever leaving your seat. Through the setup, you can monitor what is happening on the ground in real time remotely. In a recent case study, a manufacturing plant reduced accidents by 40% after implementing our system. Features include night vision, advanced monitoring for PPEs, work at height and welding activities, including real-time analytics, making it a comprehensive safety solution. Our team of experts ensures the highest quality and reliability, constantly innovating to meet your safety needs. Plus, our dedicated support team is here to assist you 24/7, ensuring that you get the most out of your investment. Join the revolution in safety with Tracker AI's smart PTZ camera system. It's time to take your safety measures to the next level. Visit tracker.live to learn more and get started today. Together, we can create a safer, smarter future for everyone.
Welcome to another episode of Hacklab Podcast, where we explore critical workplace safety issues. Today, we are diving into safety and digital transformation in steel plants, featuring Mr. YSN Reddy, a seasoned expert in industrial safety and technology. We will discuss how wearable tech, robotics, and digital twin technology are revolutionizing workplace safety. Stay tuned for valuable insights on how steel manufacturers can protect workers and enhance efficiency with cutting edge solutions. So let's get started. Thank you, Surya, for giving us your time today. As we start, I would request you to please introduce yourself for our audience.
Hi all, my name is YSN Reddy. I am working as Senior Manager in Steel Authority of India Limited, Bokaro Steel Plant. My primary work area is actually to understand the use cases in terms of the safety or process optimization, or anywhere where we can use technology to change the way we do things, right? Either it is optimization or increasing the profit, reducing the costing, anything, right? That's what my area of expertise. And I come from Andhra Pradesh and I did my BTech there only, and in JNT Hyderabad. Afterwards, I did my master from BITS Pilani. Then I started working here, and along with working in sale, I am also doing my PhD from IIT Bhilai. So that's in the how can we improve the accuracy of the video analytics models that we have in safety right now. So most of the video analytics model we have are they're not designed for safety per se, They're designed for doing something else, maybe like detecting some object, and we will see whether those objects are there apart or not. So there is no context that is being taken into place. So my thesis area is to how can we improve that accuracy, because when we are talking about the real-time implementation, that's very important. So yeah, that's what I do. Thank you.
That's a great career progression, Surya. So let's get started. What inspired your passion for safety and technology, and how did you ended up in the steel industry?
Ending up in the steel industry is mostly an accidental thing. I have never planned for maybe I should go here or not, but usually it's being a public sector industry, I wrote an exam, I ended up here. Okay. And yes, of course, the aspect of my profile is something I choose to do. Even before here, I worked in Department of Post. At the time also, we are doing a project called Project Arrow, which is digitalization and modernization of the Indian post offices, where traditionally the entire post office system is running in on books, right? We have to change it, and we need to figure out a way how we can train the people, implement the technology. So that my passion is that how can we include technology in our day-to-day lives and in our business processes. So when we came here, I started my career as a telecom guy, basically modernizing the telecom infra. Then moving forward from telecom to analytics, that is in the area of supply chain, and then we moved to the process optimization. Then right now we are working towards generative AI, LLM solutions, video analytics, the core AI part in our processes. Coming to the reason for why safety and all, see, one is the nature of the industry I work in, industry. It's very resource intensive. It's very huge manpower is involved. Take any good, 4 to 5 ton steel plant. Uh, any day you will be seeing working 30 to 40,000 employees in the plant. And also the job is very labor intensive. It's not that a lot of robotics are coming and replacing. Maybe we can see that in the future, but right now it's humans who are working there. If any mishap happens, any accident happens, that's the human lives at stake. And also the steel industry being in a very hazardous industry, either in terms of usage of chemical or the process, because most of the operations are running at 1800 1600 degrees centigrade. Okay, so something happens, then there is no recovery from that actually. So that's one thing. And another thing is either it is in India or maybe public sector, if you can take, very less automation is there, which is where more number of workers are involved, even for doing very menial tasks like inspection and all. So they are sent to work in a confined areas, where if you go to advanced countries where robotics are taking care of that, or some kind of video analytics cameras are taking care of this, where we deploy the manpower itself. So that aspect, and so if you combine everything, right, where most of the works has to be done by the individual people or the contract labor who are not so educated. So they don't even know how to read. They'll simply see there is a color coding. So you should not press this button, you should only press this button. So that's the level of knowledge they are getting at. Okay. And the nature of industry is very risky. So when you combine all these things, safety plays a lot of very important role in our day-to-day operations. Okay. And when you combine with respect to unions involved, right? Even a loss of one manpower for the business, even if you forget about where we feel bad, there are IR issues in place. Safety is very important aspect, and we felt that we started actually working on adopting technology into the safety aspects for the past 1.5 2 years at our place. Before that, everything was again manual, right? We are trying to see where we can deploy this kind of technology. Okay, so to improve this, that's where I come into the safety. And I'm not a safety engineer per se, but I have been working with the department very closely.
Right. Surya, how have wearable technologies improved worker safety in steel plants?
So, see, when we say wearable technology, primarily it's IoT enabled devices, anything, right? So, one of the case studies that we are working is on, there are a lot of high stress environments are there, where there is a crane operator working, or maybe there is a person who is going into underground tunnel. So, if you are giving them some kind of smart watches, which the Tata Steel has also done that, right? So if you can give them some kind of smartwatches, you can real time monitor their health conditions. So somebody is, for example, if their heart rate is high, you can immediately dispatch a QRT. So you can understand whether he's going to some kind of shock or unconscious. So all these parameters you will be easily able to figure out. And then your response time, maybe if that case is like a medical case, the time for you to take to the hospital will actually will decide whether the severity is there or not, right? So in that aspect, we can definitely work around that. And the other thing is because of the nature of gases involved in the steel industry, right? So if you can figure out in the real time what is the O levels, okay, or the ppm levels we have, right? So again, that will also help us to understand what are the more hazardous areas, and if something is running up or increasing very high levels, the rate of change is very high, then you can immediately dispatch QRTs, or you can alert them remotely also, okay, to evacuate the place immediately. So it has a lot of play.
Got it. And I think this also comes into the next question, which I was about to ask about real-time monitoring, right? What does real-time monitoring play role in preventing workplace accidents?
Real-time monitor, when you say, see, doing some kind of surveillance in a single closed and space is very easy compared to a steel plant, right? If you take any steel plant, mostly they are occupied in more than 1,000 acre at least in space, okay? One is, even if you decide that a person has to wear this kind of PPE, how can you ensure that, right? Without some kind of technology in place, this kind of mass surveillance is not possible. And the other aspect is actually to understand, for example, the wearable case that I told you, right? You can monitor in the real time where a person is there. For example, there are some kind of hazardous areas where a person is not supposed to go. And what happens is there are some departments which are central maintenance department, right? So they go to individual areas and they don't know the real hazardous places there. So if a person goes to that area where he's not supposed to go, you can get the real-time alert and then alert. So not to go or give some kind of instructions. So the real-time alerts will definitely help you to reduce this number of accidents where whether it is knowingly or unknowingly, whatever the mistakes that we do, we can at least prevent them.
Surya, how does robotics is transforming the hazardous processes in the steel manufacturing?
Is that because see, robotics in any way is a game changer in many areas, and especially for a company like us, we see lot many applications. Because like I told you, if you take a steel melting shop area or blast furnace area, where the temperatures are almost 1800 process centigrade, process temperature is 1800 degrees centigrade. Now, for a human being, it is not actually possible. And see, it's not internally also, even the surrounding also, it's somewhere around 60 degrees centigrade, 55 degrees centigrade. Health aspect of a person is also gets impacted. These robotics will help us to establish some kind of engineering controls. Whatever the risky jobs or processes are involved, I can definitely replace the humans with the help of the robotics. One of the common reasons for accidents usually is electrical flashing. Okay, what happens is whether knowingly or unknowingly a person touches the high voltage wires. So recently there was a case also in one of the steel industry where a contract labor was working on it, and he basically trying to disconnect or break the what he thought is there is no live voltage, but unfortunately he did break where a 132 kV or 32 kV line, and there is a flashing, there is a spot depth of fatality recorded. And let's say if that job is done by a robot, then you could have saved that person. That is aspect I see where whether it is in a finishing area where our process is running at very high speed. So what we feel is there are certain areas in our mills also, either it is in any department in our processes, where we can actually replace human labor with the help of robotics. So that will help us to mitigate whatever the risks that we have there.
Right. Like you were saying about we still
Right.
deploy a lot of
Right.
human capital, human labor in
Right.
high risk prone areas, which can be replaced with
Right.
robotics and automation in the future. So I think in the Western countries, they have already
Right.
deployed
They do.
robotics in
They
such
do.
departments.
Even if it is a not large scale, but definitely a lot of POCs are being tested.
Okay. So like how India is progressing, what do you see? How do you see us going to that stage?
In terms of the infra, for example, there is a use case in the ArcelorMittal Europe, right? What they did was they are trying to remotely control the cranes that we operate. So crane is one of the very highest risk job, first thing. And second is actually even the small amount of either it is a miscommunication, whatever you wanted to call, people end up either into LTA cases or some kind of injuries. So what they do is actually they deploy 5G, which is a private 5G network designed for that particular shop floor, and the 5G will come with a very low latency where whatever the instructions that you are passing, they'll end up reaching the destination in very milliseconds latency. And also obviously when you are deploying the robotics and all, right, there are like a lot many sensors which are continuously taking the data, processing it, and your robotics will generate some kind of insights, give some kind of actions, right? So for that kind of scale you need private networks in place. 5G is something where I see is going to bridge the gap in the industry, and the government is also working a lot. They have recently opened spectrum allocation for private 5Gs. That is one I can see that one of the issue is there, but we are moving towards that. And second is with respect to again robotics area also. Once you solve that layer of network layer, infra layer, then the generation of the use cases. So most of the firms that we say, the deep tech firms and everything, the automation is very less prevalent in the manufacturing industry. We are still in the area where PLCs are driving things. There might be one or two companies which are exceptions, where because of that initiative by the leadership, they're doing very well. But I can say at least 98% of the manufacturing industry still, we are almost like 20-25 years back.
Yeah, exactly. Because 12, 15 years back, I used to hear about PLC and still very much prevalent.
What I have seen is things have changed and they are changing very rapidly for the past 3-4 years. So it's not gradually, people are replacing the complete layers. So when we go for sensorization, people are not saying that I'll sensorize one department or one specific motor, but what they're saying is I'm going to deploy 5,000, 6,000 sensors on all the assets. So that kind of rapid deployment is there, which is very good for us. Now, at least when we start capturing the data, then we can generate the insights and then we can move toward that, right? I see we are in a very good position, and the companies who are working in this space, there are a lot of leverage for them.
Got it. Because I think India is moving towards big manufacturing hub, and yeah, and technology will play a huge role, I think, in this transformation. Great. So, Surya, how does this digital twin technology help predict and prevent accidents?
And is nothing but actually where you will simulate a process. Okay. And you have certain inputs in place and you expect some kind of outputs. And you will also expect that process to behave in a specific way. That's what our theoretical physics or theoretical models tells us. So this digital twin will help us to realistically simulate how our process is going to behave. Now the benefit of this is actually, one is to completely convert the operations to the remote. That's one thing where I see. And second is that once I know how the operation is going to behave, I know what are the risks or hazards involved in it. And I can plan for that. So that when you see in terms of the engineering aspect of safety, so we call something called as controls. So we understand or we will figure out what are all the places where there is a risk involved and how can you eliminate that risk by design. So at the initial stage itself, for example, in our house, whenever there is a high voltage, we will make sure that MCB trips down. right? So those kind of controls, if you wanted to have in place at the design or initial level itself, so this digital twins will help us to do that. Yeah.
Interesting concept.
Yeah.
Are there any real life cases of digital twin? Is there any example?
I told you that depends on if you're looking at steel plant. If I had a blast furnace, right? So that blast furnace, hot metal or melting the iron ore, it's a combination of so many processes. And I have not seen any company in the world till now which actually replicated the entire process altogether because of the complexity involved, of course. But there is a specific process. For example, let's say maybe how my raw material is being distributed inside the shop. So that kind of 3D model people are able to create and understand whether there is a uniform distribution is there or not. So that aspect is there, but the entire process is not yet replicated, at least on the steel industry's aspect, I can say.
Surya, what are some of the biggest challenges in adopting new safety technologies?
So it's something where everybody should work upon also when it comes to safety is actually we are very bad at building business cases for safety. So we always treat safety as a cost thing, but we don't dig deeper because the management, again, they are running business, right? They'll say that if I'm going to invest 10 crores or 20 crores, they'll see how much ROI I'm getting. Sometimes it could be direct or sometimes it could be indirect also. For example, if you take safety, a single accident in a workplace can change the morale of your workers a lot. So if they don't feel safe, then we don't expect some kind of very good productivity from them. We don't have or we don't define those kind of KPIs to capture that worker productivity and correlate them with your safety parameters. So how can you build that kind of business case so that your management will be convinced? Like I told you, for example, if the wearable technology that we are talking about, maybe giving a smartwatch to everybody. The smartwatch is going to cost you 15,000 rupees. Okay. For a large manufacturing organization, there are like almost 20,000 employees. You will end up generating almost 3 crores of bill for that. If you can't define at least some 1 crore or 50 lakhs of ROI, then I don't know. I don't see how it will get through the management. Yeah. So like from the government aspect, pushing them is different. But if you expect management to proactively solve your safety issues, I think this is the way to go.
Right. And also, I always say that for a company, their brand image is also important. Right. If the accidents are more, then it takes a dip.
Yeah. These are all indirect things where we fail to capture in a quantitative way, and management want to see numbers. So the safety professional, they had to work a lot to figure out what is the most feasible way to show it to the management that it's not that obviously our profit is going to increase in the end. Maybe it's not immediate. You will see 2 to 3 years down the line.
True. I think there should be a paper published on the indirect ROI return.
Definitely. That kind of work should be there.
That's a gap I think someone can fulfill.
Yeah. And the other thing that I see is mostly whenever there is a new technology coming in place, right? The worker, specifically labor, right? So they are always apprehensive of using it. So how can you get that buy-in from them so that you will convince them that until unless there is an internal acceptance, they are not going to use it. These are the two challenges I feel that very essential to address beforehand.
What are some of the future safety trends that you see shaping the steel industry or in general?
Is that, like I told you about robotics, right? Robotics is something we are actually looking forward to see what kind of use cases the companies will work upon to integrate with our processes and all. And the second is actually, so the video analytics technologies which we are developing, right? we wanted to see the better accuracy in it and how economically we can deploy them in the large scale. For example, if you take a case of Bokaro Steel Plant, there are almost 1,000 cameras running. So if you wanted to process 1,000 cameras data, you will end up generating huge cloud bills, maybe in terms of even crores of rupees also. So how can we make it economical in the terms of for this safety aspect? That's one thing I see. And also building context into this. For example, there is an action wherein a person is doing welding. So for that, he is supposed to wear a specific PPE. So along with your regular PPE like helmet and all, he is expected to wear safety glasses also. Okay. And a person is actually only walking or just rolling around the campus. He is just supposed to wear safety shoes and safety helmet. Okay. So building that kind of context into your video analytics is not yet there, because that action recognition is a very new area and there is a lot of work being done because the entire robotics field is depending upon the action recognition. So I see this combination of adding context with the help of maybe video or prompt using generative AI and giving better insights on whether the person, whoever is acting, whether he is acting in a safe way or unsafe way. So that's where I see in the future, maybe 4 to 5 years down the line, we expect those kind of models will be available.
So this decision making, if the person is acting safely or not unsafe.
Right. Not just looking at what he's wearing, but also analyzing what.
Right. So in one of my previous podcast episode, I was talking to Mr. Santosh Kumar. He is working with Tata Steel. So he
Right.
told me that he stays in Kolkata and he observes all his plants via virtual reality, and he gets
Right.
all the live feeds on his WhatsApp. So it really helps him to understand what's going on and take decisions if necessary.
True.
Nice. So I think we are heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
As we come close to closing our podcast, what is the one key takeaway steel companies should remember about safety?
I think the takeaway in the sense, more or less, not deploying the technology, but how can you make it successful, where you get the desired outcome from your technology. So for that to happen, see, steel industry is one such industry where you have very demographics of labor. You have a very highly educated people from IIMs and IITs doing PhDs and all. At the same time, you have people who don't even know how to sign. So the challenge will lies in, one is how you are adopting technology to bring awareness on the safety, or how you are enforcing the SOPs or safety protocols. That is one aspect. And also how you can bring that internal acceptance in the people that these technologies are there for us. So people see, whenever there is a camera, right, people usually look from that aspect that sir wants to monitor me continuously. It's not for safety that he sees. He thinks it is to monitor me. He wants to check me whether I'm working or not. So we need to change that thought from it's not to monitor you. It's to actually see whether nothing wrong is going in your surroundings. So the moment we are able to change their thought process in that way, I think it's very easy for us to deploy technology at the steel plants.
Thank you, Surya, for talking to us today. So that's a wrap on today's episode. Huge thanks to you, Mr. YSN Reddy, for sharing your expertise on safety innovation in steel manufacturing. I wish you a lot of luck in conducting your research moving forward. And I also want to say all our audience that please don't forget to subscribe to us and share this episode with your friends and colleagues. Let us know your thoughts. What safety innovations have you seen in your industry? And don't forget to connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. Stay safe, stay innovative, and we'll see you next time. Until then, take care and bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.